I will make a motion at 3:44 to start the public hearing for budget hearing number 2. We started and got a good amount done on the operating budget, and there are new copies in the back if you haven't picked one up yet. And that incorporates the changes that we made from the prior one. So this is a brand new budget with new numbers that we have. So I'm not going to go over the changes here unless we have a few comments, and I'll go over a few things that we did talk about. But for the legal fees, I think the last time we had left it at $50,000.
Yeah, we're over.
And now we're over.
Budget.
So I'd like to talk about raising that to, we put 65,000 in here. I think that might be a wise number to include.
Yeah, I noticed that, and that was a question I had.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're on page 1, under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, it
Legal.
says legal.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
yeah,
And I found one.
that's okay, it's a one-line item there. So, don't forget, we have bond counsel this year that we have to hire, so we're going to have that as well as regular legal fees.
Mhm.
We do? Bond counsel? Is that,
Yeah, it's required to,
is this a year for that?
Yeah,
Shoot.
isn't that for this year? Or is it for next year?
No, we hired the bond counsel when we took
Don't-
out the bond.
But do we have to have them continuing
No.
through? Okay, so that was just in the balance from
Yep,
last
that
year?
was just, yeah.
Okay,
If we decide to look at a different rate through New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank,
right.
then yes, we would need bond counsel.
So there is a possibility.
There is
that
a
we will.
possibility, yeah.
Yeah.
And the next sale for the bond bank is July.
Right.
and is that where that 15, because it was 35 at our last meeting, year to date, I believe, and now it's at
Yeah, it's at 50.
5327?
Right, we
Are
just
you
got,
looking at the debt?
no,
No,
we're looking
legal.
at the legal fees
Legal.
that just came
Okay.
in.
On page
Yeah, we
1.
just got the
Okay.
last 2
I
months.
thought that was 35 at our last meeting,
It was.
and so is that where the 15 came from? Or just invoices that finally
We just
reached
got
So
us?
it-
2
it-
final
It was
invoices.
50, and then,
Yeah.
our final invoice was $13,900, so. it's
Okay.
going over.
For the bond council?
For our
No,
town
that was
attorney.
for our
For
town
the
Oh,
town
attorney.
attorney.
oh, okay.
The
all right.
bond council was
Yeah.
the prior year.
I'm just asking where that 15 came from, because year-to-date actuals were at 35, I believe, at our last meeting, or am I wrong about
No.
that?
No.
That
No,
wasn't
we just
adjusted?
received
No.
our town attorney's last bill, which was $13,000, and that put us over budget.
I think you're thinking of the bond principal was 35,000, not the legal.
Hmm.
It was always,
Let me look here.
So at our last meeting,
This
when we
map-
looked at the budget, it was 50,000,
30.
yeah,
This
there you
was
go.
36.
It was
We just-
36.
Yeah, we just got the last legal bill
That's
from
my question.
Jason, and
the
that raised it.
actual.
That was
Yeah, the
for
actual was.
last year
Yeah.
from town attorney, is the reason that's up. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, are you guys, what do you
No.
think of 65,000?
I don't care for it. I think try some novel idea. Let's spend less on legal, keep it down to 50.
I
That's
would
what
love
we're trying
that.
to do.
I
I
would
mean, we've
love
been
that.
trying to do that across this budget.
Can
I think we can do it.
make a recommendation, and what we've always done in the past is to start at the top and make a motion to,
Okay, for
you
each
should
section?
Yeah, each section, because you do have to make a motion,
Okay,
for the budget, and,
all right, so
I
I'm
would
gonna
start-
take,
yeah,
I'm
and then
gonna
you
take
can talk.
our last meeting's budget compared to what we're looking at today. And if there are any changes, we'll go over it, but otherwise we'll make a motion for each section to approve it.
Mhm.
So our selectmen's area, starting from the top, selectmen area is the same as it was at last meeting. So if, I will make a motion to approve the proposed budget of $35,316.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Right?
Aye. The town clerks, I thought we were changing the expenses to 17,000, so we're gonna reduce that by 1,000. the 18,000 goes to 17,000, which would make the total now $121,527. I will make a motion to approve that.
Okay, well, I'll second it, and then the comment,
Comment.
or the discussion. Did we agree to reduce that by
Yes.
1,000 last time, and it
Yeah.
just doesn't show? Okay,
And
thank
her
you.
final invoices that came in, she only has $300 left in the budget this year.
Mhm.
Okay,
Things are increasing, so I think you need to think about that too.
And
can we
I,
hear from the town clerk?
Karen,
Yes,
I know we talked about it before the last meeting, and we talked about taking it down to 17. Are you still wanting to keep it at 17 or 18?
I will keep it at 17, but there's no wiggle room for anything. You know, if we have any new unknown elections that come up or equipment failures, I have nothing in my budget for that.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So it's, actual for 2025 was 16.7. That was for one election. We're gonna have 3 next year. Isn't that gonna increase your commitment to spend time on the elections?
Yeah, my time doesn't get factored into it, so
Oh, that's
you
right,
see the
okay.
election line, that did increase because
Yeah.
we are projecting for the extra election, but normally I've
That's where
always
that-
increased that line item to include an extra election in case we have someone who passes away, which years ago we did, we weren't prepared for it.
Yeah,
We're taking a chance that if all goes quiet, we don't have any surprise elections this year.
and so those expenses don't come out of your line for you or Gloria?
No,
Okay. Thank you. All right, that's it, yeah. So now I seconded that.
Okay.
and we're
All in
ready.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So you're keeping it at 18, at 17?
17. The next one, we had talked about decreasing the equipment line from 2,000 to 1,000. We put it back up to 1,500 for this rendition of the budget. And based on some conversation that Julie and I had and some requirements, we did think it would be prudent to buy our own owl. The one that at the Whitney Center is being used by them, so they would not be able to have that available to us. And with the hours at the library, we're going to make a recommendation to buy one for the town office, to be used by all the town departments.
And
So that's why we put
equipment.
it back up to 1,500 under
All
equipment.
right. So,
And then we also increased the operating expenses, or kept it at 5,500 where it was at 5,000. Did you have a change on that one for a reason?
We just found out the cleaners are increased their fees.
That's right. Question, go ahead.
well, it's kind of connected a little bit to the owl and how much we Zoom these days and the fact that we don't have a town account. And that has come up with the planning board in
Yes.
particular, almost from a liability standpoint, where we have individuals using private Zoom accounts for people to Zoom into our public meetings. And I thought it was a good point. I think now's the time to bring it up. I mean, I don't even know what an annual Zoom license would cost.
That's actually included in the increase in the utilities
Oh, it's
and
already in there.
communication. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
did.
increased that.
So we increased that to get a
Is that what the extra
enterprise.
1,000 is?
Yeah, the enterprise licenses, and
Great.
each department will have its own Zoom account, like we'll have a select board at Jackson email, planning board at Jackson email, so each department will have their own Zoom account.
Great. I think
The
that's
owl
money well
costs
spent.
And then,
as well, so.
yeah, and then the owl will, is in the equipment line. So that's the increase in those two.
How many users do we get for that?
Well, you pay per user,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
you're
so,
gonna need like 5.
Mhm. It's about
so that'll
200 a
be
year.
on top of the 1,000.
On top of 1,000, yes.
On this line? On this line, Bob? The
Yeah.
communication went from 12 to 15.
Right, and then it's gonna be more than a basic license.
Basic
Because we're
license
gonna
is
have multiple
150.
users.
Mhm.
Oh, the basic
Yeah.
license is 150. and then-
5 users will be
Okay,
about
gotcha.
1,000
Thank you.
Per month?
No,
It's per month.
per year.
It's gonna be about, yeah, $600.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So that brings us to 294,511. Sarah?
Yes, under operating expenses under financial administration, I had, you had 5,000 on budget one. On budget two, it's now 5,500.
Yeah,
And then on town office building expenses, it was 23, and I had it down like you were gonna take 2,000 out, but now it's up to 25.
I know one of those was the increase in the cleaning fees.
That's the operating expenses she just spoke of, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of increases this year.
Well, the only reason I'm asking is because it had said 5,000, and I think somebody on the board recommended taking it down 500. And then on the next one, town, that was operating expenses, and then the town office building expenses was 23. And I had written down 2,000, which I thought was a deduction, and now it's up to 25. So you're saying both of those, the deductions couldn't be had and it's more expensive? You found that it was gonna cost more?
I think that is right on the town operating. I'm not remembering the specifics of what were in there, but, I'm not remembering the specifics of what were in that line item, but I know we looked at those and decided they needed to be, because of increases that we
It
had
has
had.
to do with, it's copiers, it's, because we share, the town office building expenses, would be Karen's office, our office, and the PD.
Hmm.
The cleaning, because they clean the whole building.
So I think what when we estimated each of the services and expenses that are in those two categories, we left them level from last year versus reducing
Yeah,
them.
yeah. It's not recommended to go down with the way things are going up in prices.
Makes sense to me.
And so the only increase would be the Zoom over the Zoom licenses, but the equipment includes the OWL, it's still decreasing. The training we decreased based on what we've spent in the past, and then the professional fees was a realistic increase based on the audit.
The audit.
All right, any other questions? I will make a motion to approve 294,511.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right. Assessing, any questions on that? Motion to approve assessing at 44,000.
I'll make that motion to approve assessment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, back to legal fees. I think we need to increase it from the 50,000 that we had. I think 65 is a fair number, but I don't know what you folks think.
I already said I'd like to keep it at 50 and make it work. So when the attorney comes to us and says, you know, you have some, well, we're gonna have to put that up, and we're not gonna do that, we're gonna figure it out ourselves. There are ways around it. I'm trying.
Eric?
Is there a budget for the 65,000? Is 10,000 for contracts or expected things, or, I mean, or is it just rounded into?
No, there is no, there's no budget for anything that we need unless we need legal assistance, so. We do our best to estimate based on, we never know what's going to come up. In the past, we've had, like we said, bond counsel from last year, but, that's an as-needed number.
That's a typo that was from last year, and I
Okay.
just forgot to take it out.
Okay.
Which typo? Which
It's
one?
under
The
legal,
required for
it
the
says
bond counsel.
increase.
Oh,
Okay,
gotcha.
all right, so we can take that note out. That was included in
Yeah.
2025, but it won't be ongoing. So,
If it's not ongoing, we spent, how much on the bond council?
Last, we spent 10,000 on the bond
Okay.
council.
Yeah,
so normally it would, if we had 50, it would, if
But
we
we-
spent 50, it would be 40.
We budgeted 50 last year and we spent over, a
Right.
little over, so,
right.
Why not much?
not
No.
by much, but. Keep in mind, if you spend over on the operating budget, we have to have a special meeting,
Mhm.
because you have to spend total at the bottom line.
Yeah, under.
We have some control over that particular item, I think. I said.
So Frank,
So what I'm looking for, I suppose, is something less than 65. From
okay,
50 to 65.
given that we're not gonna be hiring a bond counsel this year, how would you feel about amending that $65,000 number to 55,000? Well, I'll make a motion then that we budget $55,000 in the 2026 budget for legal fees.
Let's do an increase, a little bit less.
Do you want to second that?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Personnel administration, this number is the same as our number from last year, last meeting, at $653,347. Any questions?
No, and I'll make a motion that we approve that number of $653,347 for the 2026 proposed budget under personnel administration.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I
Okay.
ask a question?
Yes.
I've posed the question many times, and I did write a right to know, and I did ask the selectmen in the right to know if they would again publish the wages, the statutory benefits, and, I know you put the healthcare in there, and I've also asked that the PTO time and, vacation weeks and all that get put into our town warrant, and unsuccessfully. And I'm asking, do I have to go to the next meeting and put myself on the agenda so that you can discuss that? Or can you take a vote on whether or not you will do it to put it in an annual warrant at this time?
I know you've requested it year after year, and we have talked about it. And we did a little bit of research as well about some of the other towns and what they put in their town reports and why they don't put certain information in their town reports. And I'm still of the belief that if you want to know the information, it's definitely available. You're the only one that's ever asked for it year over year, and I thank you for doing that because you always challenge us to make sure that we're attending to all the numbers, but I don't think that it's prudent to publicize a person's wage and benefit package, and I don't think it provides, it doesn't do any justice to all of the people in the departments. It can cause actually some bad communication, and salaries are always a tough thing to for everyone to know about. You're right, you can definitely ask for the information and it can be provided, but as a practice, I don't think it's prudent to put it in the town report.
May I ask?
We looked at other towns and some of them put in the positions or the departments with their totals that way. So, Bob and Frank, I don't know if that's something you would want to discuss at all, but, that I understand what you're asking for transparency, but I just don't think it's a prudent thing to put in the name of everyone in their amount of money that they earn. Making that a public document also can expose people's personal information without it having to be requested. So, any thoughts
Well, it
on
was
that?
suggested that, by putting just a description of the job and not the person, that may be a good halfway measure. We'll still get all the information out there. It's still available the way you want it. But every position would be, people know who win those positions ultimately anyway, but at least it will talk about what they're making. Because I think in the spirit of transparency, it's all public money, and I think it's important that everybody should know. Again, and I don't want to say this, that we always did it that way, you know? I shouldn't say that, but we did, and I never heard anybody say, this is horrible that you did this to all our employees years and years and years ago. And it stopped sometime in 2018, 19, but I think it's great for transparency, but I'm not gonna go to the mat over it. I mean, this is, you know, the information is available whenever you want it, okay? So,
Thoughts?
Why don't we just kind of monitor over the year? How many people really care about that by coming in and asking and get a real sense of the interest? I mean, I don't think towns that do and towns that don't make any towns more or less transparent than any other town. I don't think it's a transparency issue.
It's done in our
and
school
I-
budget.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I'm sorry, hold on, please.
So, I mean, those are my thoughts.
Penny?
I would support full disclosure and transparency. Looking at the benefits now, I had no idea that a first-year employee for the town was getting 5 weeks paid vacation, which I think is extraordinary. And 20-plus years gets up to, gets 8 weeks of paid vacation. I'm in full support of transparency, 100%.
Eric?
You know, hell might freeze over here, but I agree with Penny. Every single state job is searchable online with the full compensation package. You have to just type in someone's first and last name. Every single state job in New Hampshire. So I think there is a reason for that. I don't necessarily agree on the PTO or the wage or those things. I don't think it's a question. I mean, the town employees work extremely hard and difficult jobs and the town's growing, but I don't think that we should just be very transparent about it. in my opinion.
Any other comments, thoughts? Oh, Chief?
Yeah, I just want to follow up on something Penny said. Is one thing, I think you're mischaracterizing the time component when you say vacation time. The employees of the town of Jackson do not receive vacation time. They receive PTO, and that's also inclusive of their sick time. So whatever they get for a component, some of it has to be parsed out if they want any sick time, because we don't get independent sick time. So I think if you did a comparative analysis of municipalities both in the area and throughout the state, that certainly is not a Cadillac package that they provide. Many towns have large pools of sick time to include sick bank, where employees can borrow from other employees in case of injury or something. They have short-term disability, long-term disability. They have also additional retirement funds they can contribute to and the like. So it is not vacation time. It is earned benefits, all inclusive. I just want to clarify that.
Okay, thank you. Sarah?
Also on PTO, which is, you're correct, that's the right term, a person can bank and have money, sick time banked into their
PTO.
program and take it year after year. So you can accumulate as much as you want.
Certain amount, there, you can max out what you can bank.
Right, but you
definitely.
can do that.
I'm in no way questioning what we pay our people, what their benefits. They deserve every penny.
And
This is just talking about
Sarah,
putting it
please.
in a report to some extent, like others have done it, like we have done it in the past. Just making sure,
Sarah?
sorry.
I know it's very hard being in a small town, and as you said, everybody knows everybody. And this is not, I am not questioning that. I'm not trying to reflect on whether they're good employees, bad employees, or any of that nature whatsoever am I implying that. I'm just asking so that when we hear from the selectmen that we're paying our persons decent wages, when we gave them an 8% raise to bring their wages up to compare to other towns in other situations. I just think that when we do these type of things, and then it's not shown in the process what we're doing, it's like with the fire department, they do not, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they get, I think it's 19-something% for their retirement. Police officers get 29 point something for their retirement because they don't get Social Security. Our town employees do get Social Security. So there's many different factors, you're correct. But the bottom line is, I do feel for transparency. We do it in our town report for our schools. They do it all over the SAU for their school teachers and employees. You know, I just think it's no reflection whatsoever on a personal basis to any employee. It's just transparency.
Karen?
I just want to point out that when you mentioned PTO and the length of time some people could potentially have, there are some departments here that the staff does not have enough time to be able to take all their PTO, and at the end of the year, they are at risk of losing significant hours. So even though you may think you pay us above and beyond, there are many departments who go above and beyond what is required to do their job. So, and it's on us for not taking the time, I get it, but I just want to make sure you're aware that there are some departments who lose PTO for not taking it. We may carry over a little bit, but we don't carry on.
All right, I'm going to stop the conversations here because I really appreciate everyone's input, and I want to make sure we can get through the whole budget. So, we've already approved this personnel administration. Julie, what's the deadline you have for the town report?
Tonight
Okay.
at
All
9
right, thanks.
A moot point at this point.
All right. I'm gonna keep moving along while we're here. So, all right, next is planning and zoning boards, 6,000, and we had talked about the master plan for the planning board expenses of 5,000, and then we left the zoning board at 1,000. So I think it's prudent to leave those numbers in there. And then the housing commission we took out, Julie?
Yeah, that had to be, that is down,
On the
I had to
different-
create a new,
Okay, That's right.
accounting code for DRA,
So
so it's further
it
down.
falls down.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will make a motion, unless discussion on that? I'll make a motion to approve 6,000 under planning and zoning.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye. All right, government parks and buildings, we had 53.5, we reduced the town grounds and maintenance down to 2,500, so that brings it to a total of $50,500. Any questions, comments?
no.
All right, I will make a motion to approve $50,500 under parks and buildings.
Second?
All in favor?
All right,
Aye. Under cemeteries, it remains at $12,000. Any questions? I will make a motion to approve 12,000.
Second.
All in favor?
all right.
Aye. All right, insurance, this is our property and liability, and this actually went down, which is just surprising, but small amount, but it went down. So, any questions?
I'll make a motion that we use $98,964 in proposed budget insurance line item next year.
Second.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye. All right, we started out last with 93,056, and we're looking at the current budget for 91,056. So we reduced the miscellaneous engineering, and then we dropped the building inspector expenses and fuel expenses down a bit. So that brought a few of the line items down there. Did you guys have any questions on that one for 91,056?
no, but I will say, Julie, we had the revenue sheet in the budget at the last meeting we looked at.
That wasn't supposed to be in
Right,
there.
but it was.
Right.
And I will mention that this is a department that generates quite a bit of revenue.
Right. Yeah, Kevin's building inspector wages are almost covered fully by our building inspection fees. So, motion to approve 91,056 under building inspection.
So moved.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
That
right.
revenue sheet will be in the town report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, police department budget, we did talk about this and the, increase mostly being the duplication of some of the staff, before the chief retires, and every week that we don't have someone, we're not spending the money, but, we remain at $483,345. Any questions on that?
No?
I will make a motion to approve $483,345 in the police department.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ambulance, $40,120. We did go over this in our budget, our joint budget meeting with the town of Bartlett, and, as you can see, the ambulance only asked for half of the budget last year. Still a bargain at $40,000. Any questions on that?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the $40,120 in the ambulance budget.
I'll make that motion. Did you make the
Yeah,
motion?
go
I'll
ahead.
second it. I'll make the motion.
All in
Second
favor?
it.
Aye. Pay attention. Keep going. All right, we're down to the fire station, and we have a little bit less than our about 6,000 less than our previous budget, so we're looking at $245,163. And I think we took the utilities and propane, no, that wasn't it. Oh, we took the gasoline down, and that dropped the budget. So, any questions on that?
Yeah, and the major increase there, we are paying utilities for 2 buildings.
Yeah.
This point?
So far.
Yeah, right.
All right,
So I'll make a motion that we approve $245,163 for the fire line item in next year's budget.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Emergency management, we reduced that health officer expenses from 6,000 to 5,500, mostly based on what we had for our total spend, but also just conversation. And it's still a realistic number, so 15,892. Emily, you still good with that one?
Yep.
Awesome. Any questions?
I'll make a motion that we approve $15,892 for our emergency management budget.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye. All right, highway administration, this is just for the wage line item, $292,490.
make a motion, we approve $292,490 for our highway administration wages.
No, I had some,
You're at the bottom.
no, I know.
Oh, good.
But there was, I'm looking at this one here, Jim,
On the wages side of it?
with, not on
This
the
is,
wages.
no, we're just looking at the wages right now.
This is what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, we're not on that yet.
All right, okay, the wages, all right, it's the wages, all right.
Yep,
Okay.
so I'll second the 292,490.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we're looking at the highway operating budget.
Right.
So 466,784 is what we have, and this,
Right.
we had that.
And
All right, so we started last one with 469,784. We're at 466,784. And the difference was, we dropped from 15 down to 12,000, which kept the maintenance of town
Okay,
grounds
you
the
got that
same.
right, okay.
So the only increases and decreases were the gravel, salt, gas increased, and a few of the other minor line items. And I think one of the questions that was raised in here was the culverts. And Jim, I know you just didn't have the opportunity to spend all the money you had in the budget for the culverts this past year.
Yeah,
But,
it's a pretty big number.
yeah, but we're still keeping it in there to maintain the possibility that you'll be able to get that done.
Any,
Penny?
I was just wondering why there's a separate line item for telephone and internet services, and why it's so pricey at $312. Does that include cable? What, it's not separated out for other buildings?
It's a separate account up at the town garage, I believe, is that correct? Why it's a separate account? Do you know, Julie?
No.
Everybody has that within their budget.
Yeah.
Police, the fires, fire and highway.
Other departments, it's called utilities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We don't have cable.
Oh, no, that's the way it's always been named.
Does the town garage have cable? It used to.
More.
Okay, you got rid of it?
We don't use it. All we use the internet. So. Do you
Go
want
ahead.
to go through this, Julie, or do you want me to?
You do, you
Okay.
go. Yeah, it's
We
your
do
budget.
actually, we do actually have cable TV in the shop, but we don't use it. I looked at this with Julie. Julie and I called Spectrum, I think, as our supplier.
Mhm.
And it was more money to get rid of cable than to keep it.
Because
If we
they're
change-
bundled
If we
package.
change our plan right now, we're on a grandfather plan. Our increase across the board would go up quite a bit, like almost double. So we just left everything as is.
It's like about 300
Okay.
I agree
plus
with
dollars
that.
a month.
Mhm.
It's commercial, it's commercial.
Okay.
And I can vouch for that because I've looked at a few clients lately to try to look at some of the reduction in costs, and it's scary how much they charge businesses versus residents. Jay?
I think, I remember when cable did us something where they were giving the fire department and the highway department basically free cable. Because I think that was the same with us. In the old station, we had cable, but it was like a freebie, we were just paying for internet.
That's pretty much all we had to do that.
Any other questions on the highway department then? Questions, comments? I will make a motion to approve $466,784,000 for the highway budget.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I got that invitation for that Super Bowl party you're having up there. I can't wait to see it on the big screen. Just kidding. All right, solid waste disposal. We are, first of all, happy to announce that no one got hurt up at the transportation station when the transformer pole fell down this past weekend. They had to close for a day, but they were actually open the next day, and New Hampshire Electric Co-op was up there fixing everything. So no one got hurt, everything is repaired up there, and they're actually doing some other repairs to some wiring up at the transfer station that were probably overdue as well. So that's good news. And then the other good news is they have hired another full-time staff up there recently, so they're back up and running in full. So they do a great job up there. Any questions on the 154,085 for the transfer station
I have
solid
none.
waste disposal?
Not here.
Motion, I will make a motion to approve 154,085.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Animal control, $500.
Make a motion, we approve $500 for our animal control budget.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public welfare, 10,000.
Make a motion, we approve $10,000 for our public welfare part of our operating budget.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then under library, we increased that a little bit based on the increase in some of the just operating costs and the bookkeeper costs. So that is the same as what we had presented at the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve $158,071 for the library operating budget.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Other conservation, this is the Conservation Commission, $1,500. Solid-based materials.
Make a motion, we approve $1,500 for the other conservation part of the operating budget.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, and this is where the Housing Commission expense comes in because we didn't have it last year. It's a new line item, and it is sort of they got money the first year, the second year they didn't ask for funds, and then this is new funds that they're asking for. So, any questions on that?
No, other than to say, it looks like the narrative is that this is an expense line for Housing Commission trainings, mailings, and surveys.
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve the 1,500 on the Housing Commission expense.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, other culture and recreation. Mr. Hank, part of that's your budget, and then our Valley Vision channel, so 6,000 plus 5,000 is 11. Any questions on that?
I had none.
I'll make a motion to approve 11,000 on the other culture and recreation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Hank. Glad to see you here. Parks and Recreation, $6,700 for the Bartlett Rec Center.
I'll make a motion, we approve $6,700 for the Parks and Recreation line item in the operating budget.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Debt service. So you will notice on here that there's a correction to the TAN interest. Once we talked about that at the last meeting, it was 51,300, and that was miscategorized. It should have been 6,500 for the TAN interest, which was the short-term loan that we took out for the tax anticipation note. So that is 6,500 instead of 51,300.
So it's not 51,000 anymore?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a relief.
That
Yeah.
was a line, like
Yeah.
a line, it was supposed to be the line above.
Excel interest, Excel problem there. So the total now is $139,498. Questions?
So that would
Eric?
have been like 6.5% interest per month, essentially.
I think it was 5 something, yeah.
5 and change.
Yeah.
All right, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Sure does,
Very good.
And we just got that bill, so.
yeah. Timing is everything. All right, any other questions?
No?
I will make a motion to approve the $139,498 under debt service.
Second?
All in favor?
Wait.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Julie, I'll let you work your magic on the bottom line. I think that we reduced it by 1,000 and 10,000, so that's 11,000.
Maybe 11,000?
Yeah, that's what I have. So our new budget is 3,488, 3,488,869. Any questions, comments? All right, I will make the big motion of approving our total operating budget of $3,488,869.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The agents to expend capital outlay just shows what we spent in this current, or the past year for CapEx. On to warrant articles. All right, we got a good start on these and had some definite conversation on the recurring capital reserve funds. So, Sarah?
Is this gentleman here about a warrant article?
Yes,
I just wondered if we might be able to move him
I can
forward,
wait,
so
that's
he-
okay.
if he
you
doesn't-
like to be here, David, right, to listen to all this?
It's fun.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, I don't mind at all if you want to sit. This is David
Whatever
Smolin,
your-
the
whatever your
executive
pleasure
director
is.
at the Gibson Center. And I asked him to come by because he's asking for $1,000 more for the Gibson Center. And since I'm the president of the board there, I figured I would be a conflicted party. So if you want to actually give us a quick explanation on why you're up to
Sure. Well, thank you,
3,400.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Select Board. My name is David Smolin. I'm the Executive Director of the Gibson Center for Senior Services in North Conway. The Gibson Center, by warrant article request, is to the town of Jackson is requesting $4,000 this year. This is the first request for an increase in 6 years, so we've been at $3,000 for the last 6 budget years. And our goal there is simply to maintain the purchasing power of that 2020 request. You know, we've had a number of, like so many people, organizations, have had a wide range of, due to inflation, et cetera, you know, a variety of increases. And as a result of that, we are requesting an increase, again, for the first time in 6 years. In 2025, the Gibson Center delivered 628 meals in the town of Jackson, servicing 33 people. And so there's the Meals on Wheels, but then also there's the congregate dining service that we offer in North Conway, which certainly local residents in Jackson do take advantage of. We have a great lunch. I encourage everyone to come at 11:30. And that is by donation. The average donation is 80 cents, which, you know, sometimes people do drop in a 20, and that's really appreciated. but it is 80 cents. And additionally, we do a lot of programs. Just last year, I was up here with Meg Murphy at the library. We did a really nice tech training program here. We drove the bus up. We had so we did a whole series of programs here. And actually, I just scheduled 2 events at the library. I just happened to come in early and was chatting with Meg, and so I'm going to be doing a couple of things here at the library. And additionally, one other thing which we're really grateful for is working with the Jackson Police on Project Good Morning. I know the chief was just there at the Gibson Center recently with Chief Maddie from the Conway Police as well. Conway does that too. So yeah, I'm just happy to answer any questions you might have, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for what you do too. Any questions?
I'd just like to say thanks for coming and explaining the hike, and I think that I didn't hear about all the other community groups you make your building available for, but I know there are other community groups that meet
yes.
in that building, and it's just become a mainstay of the valley, that location.
Well, thank you. It's a great privilege to be the director of the Gibson Center. And I also just want to mention we have the best thrift store in the whole valley, which is a very important piece of our revenue puzzle. So please feel free to come visit the thrift store for your shopping needs. I don't have anything from the thrift store on right now. I should have. I apologize.
Right, dress up.
I've done that before.
And also you have the best office in the valley.
That's true, but yes, I have the best, I dare say I have the best office. I think it was Harvey Gibson's bedroom, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's possible.
All right. Thanks, David. I really appreciate
Sure.
you coming.
Okay,
And
thank
thanks
you.
for all you
Appreciate
do.
your time.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
You too. Thanks, Sarah,
Thank
for
you.
pointing that out.
Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
With everything else, they're relatively level funded. Do you want to just bounce down there and address that
Yeah.
whole recurring social services chamber support?
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we approve $30,318 for the recurring social services chamber support part of the budget of the warrant articles.
I will second that. Did anyone have any public comments, Peter?
My recurring.
Oh, God. Is this,
There's no bias in this. There's no bias in this room. I have to say, I think 100% increase request from the airport is a great idea. Of all the social service agencies there, the other ones I think can provide, they can really quantify what they do and how they do it. I think just asking for twice the amount of money just because it's only $500 is not prudent on behalf of the town.
Thank you. Penny?
And I'd be in support of taking the fireworks money and spreading it out towards the other social support services opposed to fireworks.
Down here. We're going back there, but since David was down here. Jay?
I'm gonna argue with Peter a little bit, like I do every year on this. So the airport, I feel, is extremely important, and $1,500 is a pretty minimal amount to pay. If you look at some of the other items there, we've got, the amount of,
It's not bad.
You're already increasing.
I didn't bring my glasses, sorry. Whether it be, get a major forest fire, or, like Flight of Maine has landed there when they can't maybe make it to the airport. I know that firsthand. You're spending $4,000 on fireworks. It's a want, not a need, but, piddling over $500 for an airport.
Any other comments? Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
all right,
Aye. Flies.
All right. We're gonna head back to the top here under the recurring capital reserve funds. So we had some good discussion, like we said, and we dropped the fire department truck to 40,000. We left the road reconstruction at 125. We left the highway truck at 125. We took the 50,000 out for the ambulance because that is fully funded and should be within the next few months. Highway heavy, we left at 100, and I'm just comparing budgets, not whether or not we're approving it. Police cruiser, we took to 10,500. We left the reevaluation of town property out because we don't need that, and then the solar energy is the last year we're funding that. Any questions or comments on each of the line items?
I have a comment. I thought that we reduced either the highway truck recurring capital reserve fund or the highway heavy equipment capital reserve fund by half. Didn't we, Jimmy?
I believe it was the highway heavy equipment.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the one, and he talked us into leaving the highway
Right.
truck at 125 because
Right.
we were gonna need that for upcoming
And
purchase,
so
but,
heavy
Highway-
equipment should go to 50?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
In fact, you remember that.
All right. My only qualm is with the police cruiser, and I think we originally had 20,500 and it was reduced down to 10,500. That is not something that is a vehicle that we can do much on, and we are going to have to replace it next year. So I think we're just kind of kicking the can down the road, and it's not a long road. We only have 31,000 in there. If we only put 10 more in, we're at 40, and the cruiser alone costs 50 plus to outfit it is like another 20 or 30. So I don't feel comfortable reducing that, and I think even if we left it at the original 20,500, it's still only funding the vehicle itself. So I would like to suggest leaving it at 20,500.
How many
where it
miles?
was originally.
How many miles on the cruiser? Is it?
I believe mine is the most, and it's at 89,000.
Is that the?
His is the one that's.
That's the one you're getting rid of?
So it's
Yes.
89,000, and I figure we're doing about 40,000 miles a year.
A year.
But they're hard miles too, because they're up and down the hills and stuff, so they're not, it's tough, they're daily vehicles. The other thing is, Kevin's vehicle is literally running on its last leg, so if possible, we may be able to get rid of Kevin's vehicle and give him the last cruiser, but that's just, we're not accounting for that in dollars in the budget at all, but, Kevin's, rather than putting money into Kevin's vehicle, which has a lot more miles on it and it's been ridden hard, there's possibility of doing that, so, I would just like to increase that back up to 20,500, yes.
so I don't think, when it comes to a vehicle need, that we're painting ourselves into a corner where we're not gonna be able to purchase vehicles when we need those vehicles. The whole purpose for me advocating for some cuts in capital reserve funds is that I don't think we're in a super strong position to be putting money in reserve for things. Everything that we don't spend in this budget ends up at the end of the year going into an unreserved fund balance. And we use that unreserved fund balance to impact the tax rate that people feel. And the more we can leave out of the warrant articles, the more likely we're not gonna have to pull money out of our unreserved fund balance to impact the tax rates. Going into next year, in the year 2027, will be the first year of our bond payment for the fire station. That bond payment will be for 18 months, not 12 months. And I think we should be doing everything we can right now to prepare for that. It's going to have a real impact on a lot of our residents who are on fixed incomes. And I think everything we can do to be thinking about that next year. So if we don't have to pull a lot of money out of our unreserved fund balance this year to make the town portion of the tax rate palatable for our residents, it will be there waiting for us at the end of 2027 when we absolutely have to have it to reduce the burden of a $860,000 bond payment. And that's the reason for wanting to be as prudent as we can in areas that can make a difference for us down the road. That was my logic anyway, so. That's it, that's all I have to say. So a lot of towns don't put money in capital reserve funds for equipment purchases. They go out and they finance, as most of us do with cars, and we incur interest. We put money in reserve, we build interest. It's not a lot of money, but it's some, and it's just a difference of how some towns look to purchase things. If we have to finance the last $10,000 of a police cruiser or whatever, I mean, we can do that. We can do those kinds of things. I just feel like we need to prepare now for 2027.
So where does that bring us with this, the 15.5 went down to 10.5. Barbara mentioned 20.
20,500
Do you
was
want
the
to bring it back to
original
15? Bob, is that what are you advocating that?
Am I advocating for what?
15.5, or do you want to keep it the same?
I am advocating for as tight a belt as we can put on. So
With the possibility of financing down the road if we had a problem with,
yeah,
if we didn't have enough money.
you know, I can live with 15.5.
I
Life's
can.
about compromise.
All right,
I can do.
I appreciate that.
But I just wanted to explain the purpose. This isn't a, just kind of an arbitrary look at things and deciding that we want to just put in less because that's what we're deciding.
All right, so we have 40,000, 125, 125, 0, 50,000, 15.5, 0, and 27,690. Does that sound right there? So we took it down by 45,000.
Yeah, so that puts it at 383, 190.
383, 190. All right,
Does that look good to everybody? Is that number accurate? I think it is.
I haven't added, so if you
Okay.
guys got it. All right, I will make a motion to approve 383,190 for the capital reserve fund recurring capital reserve funds.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, recurring expendable trust funds. I believe we went over all of these, but, the Dundee Road Bridge, we started 50,000, that was for the bridge repair ETF, because we've drained that, because the Valley Cross Road Bridge is done, so we're starting that replenishment at 50,000 with the idea that the town's gonna have to cover 200,000 in 2030 or something like that, so building that one back up. And then the rest of the numbers, I believe, are all the same as last time, so do we have any questions or thoughts about money putting in here? Maybe we didn't go over these, I don't remember, but I don't have notes on any of them.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
we,
we finished that one.
Okay.
yeah, we started it, but, yeah, I have no questions about it.
I don't either.
Okay, and we did reduce some of those, so it's a reduction from 260 last year to 140,000. So if no questions, I'll make a motion to approve 140,000 into the recurring expendable trust funds.
Second?
Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we did the social services, and there is down to the new 2026. We have a couple warrant articles to go through, and then there is a sidewalk maintenance and repair capital reserve fund that we're starting for 50,000. We did talk about this at the last meeting, and it has to do with the DOT bringing to our attention that they will be doing a sidewalk project, and this would be our portion of it. And Jim, that was sort of an estimate, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're establishing a capital reserve fund for sidewalk maintenance.
Can I just bring some
Yes,
things here?
of
Jim,
course.
Jim, you mentioned something to me about, you've been talking with the state highway or DOT about what their timeline is here.
Yeah.
Could you
I
fill us
got
in this a little bit?
Information as of this morning. I had proposed 2027 to be looking toward rebuilding sidewalks in Jackson Village, because the state had a plan to redo all the drainage in the village for the entire summer, and their schedule was kind of working with mine, and as the state goes, they changed their schedule, so they want to do all the drainage this year, and possibly pave the village in 27 or 28.
Wow.
Yeah, so I literally got handed that this morning, so we're working on some new details. I think I can push the state off for a year, I'm
Mhm.
hoping, so our schedule won't change. And I'll try to get some better detail on the sidewalks and what they'll cost and what they'll cost us.
Do you want to have Brian Skirk to come into one of our meetings maybe, just to discuss that a little bit?
We're trying to set up the local
Is that okay,
foreman
Bob?
and the district
Yeah,
engineer.
of course.
The district engineer is gonna come down and kind of explain what their plan is.
That would be a good idea
Yeah,
this spring.
definitely, I mean, we have to get this number either approved or not tonight, but, so for a start.
Would be
It
But,
has to be tonight.
Huh?
It has to be tonight.
That's what I'm saying, we have to do
Yeah.
this tonight, even
Yeah.
though Brian would come in for another
Well, that won't-
meeting, but that'll give us,
That won't have any impact
no,
really on your budget, that they
No.
start that, no, so it
No.
doesn't anyway, so
no.
it's
No.
it's okay.
All right, so any other questions about establishing
It's
this?
just gonna get messy right there.
Yeah. All right, I will make a motion to establish the sidewalk maintenance and repair capital reserve fund for $50,000.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, there's a petition to warrant article that we have, and we might as well hit that since we're on the dollars here. So there's a petition to purchase 2 Shield 15B speed displays in order to monitor and enforce traffic violations as well as conduct traffic studies, and the equipment would be maintained and deployed by the Jackson Police Department. I've been on the select board for 7 years, and the first year I think we started talking about these, and we were talking about putting them up on Green Hill Road, I remember, and so I know that there's been one on Valley on Kearsarge and Intervale Crossroad, and it sure makes me hit the brakes. So, not that I speed, but I
Yeah.
go a little town, like 3 miles over the speed limit, but when it flashes, it scares you. So, there's a quote for 9,000, sorry, not a quote, but there's a request for $9,000 to purchase 2 units. Bob?
Yeah, I notice Will's here, Will White, and I would imagine he may be here to speak on this. Is there something
Yes.
you'd like to share with the room?
Yeah, I think it's a really good time to buy these devices. We have increasing traffic in our area, which puts an unnecessary load on our police department to monitor that. And we could use these devices, which the research, if you want to look it up, is really good in slowing down traffic, and with the amount of distracted drivers we have, if there's a blinking light further ahead, they're more likely to look up. We have a very precarious intersection right near the school. Sometimes people are heading down. Those who live on Carter Knott Road this time of year know that going up to Prospect Farm is also a busy road. And we don't have a lot of sidewalks here, and we have a lot of people walking around on the roads with their dogs, and we're part of that crew. And depending on the time of day, you can see people blowing by at a very high rate of speed because they're late to work or whatever. And myself and a number of different citizens really feel this will help just slow, calm things down and put people in perspective. Because a lot of times, and I'm as guilty as anybody, I think I'm going a certain speed, or the area has a certain speed, and we're going much higher than it should be. So that is why I think this is a good thing for the town to purchase for the safety of the citizens and for those who visit us.
Is there a reason why 2 versus 1?
The research shows that it allows, well, one, if one goes down, and two, you can have different places and you can track, you can adjust these to track different things. So that is why we thought 2 would be better. I don't know. I mean, the research shows that a town having 2, it's just more useful.
I recall, I think I see him raising his hand, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
In
no,
a public meeting.
You know where I'm going.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we're happy to, Black Mountain, I think, had said we'd contribute $5,000 for those. We definitely see a speed issue too with guests out of town and people going around that corner, and, you know, we've had that icing issue there, and, I mean, we've actually had 2 parking employees be hit by cars, in the last month. So, yeah, put one right as, the big issue for us is right when you come down the hill,
Yeah.
just before Whitney's, and you make that turn, people are fast. So, yeah, we'd be happy to help with that.
Okay, so one more question on the quote. It says 124.94, but then it says the price is $3,775.94, and that's each. So $9,000 seems like more than what is needed. Is there a purpose for $9,000? Was there any other cost to be associated with this?
Not that, I think we're trying to be mindful of constant changing prices in our duty-laden world right now, so not getting stuck, not having enough money.
Gotcha. Any other questions, comments?
Who does he make the check out
Lisa?
payable to? I'm sorry.
Lisa?
I'm just wondering, and I know that this is having to do with the state highway department, but we used to have a 30-mile-per-hour zone approximately from, say, the Red Fox Pub to what used to be Harmon's store. And they removed that, and it's a 40-mile-an-hour speed zone. It would be nice to go back to a 30, because they really fly up and down Route 16. It's very dangerous trying to come out of any of those businesses. It's extremely dangerous trying to come out of Green Hill. And I would also love to see and have our town address that we have a standard speed limit. Not that one road is, this speed and that road's that, but a mandatory 35 miles an hour on Dundee and Green Hill or, Thornhill. Just choosing, whether you choose 25 or 35, but just choose a number that people can have an expectation of this is the speed limit instead of seeing it vary so much.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do have some town roads and some state roads, so we are limited on the control we have over that, but, and that being definitely a larger conversation, it is interesting how many different speed limits there are in the town for different roads.
And I'm just putting it out there as, let's start considering this,
Yeah.
because it's very confusing. And it's gotta be that much more confusing for people from away.
All right, any other comments or questions on the $9,000 warrant article?
I guess my comment is that we could reduce that by half with the pledge made in the room tonight and still end up with 2.
That's right.
Are you able to do that where it is a petition article with 25 signatures from town?
No, you cannot.
Residents.
You cannot change the wording of a petitioned article.
Okay.
I'll
So
support it.
all right, so, I will make a motion to support.
Barbara, you have to read the article.
Oh,
You have
sorry.
to read the article and then make a motion.
I thought I did it.
Did you, shall the town of Jackson, did you read the full article?
Where is that?
You kind of jumped ahead. It's in your packet.
Oh,
Proposed
I'm
articles.
sorry, go ahead. I did jump ahead, it's
Yeah.
ahead of here. I jumped ahead by
Yeah,
looking at the
there's lots of-
petition one.
Yeah, you could just jump
I
to
see.
the petition articles next.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, if you move a few pages forward to the petitioned articles, this is petitioned article number 1. Purchase 2 speed displays, Model Shield 15B. Shall the town of Jackson vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,000 for the purpose of purchasing 2 Shield 15B speed displays in order to monitor and enforce traffic violations as well as conduct traffic studies. Equipment shall be maintained and deployed by the Jackson Police Department. Majority vote required, tax impact 1 cent. I will make a, do I just make a motion then? I'll make a motion to recommend petition article number 1, purchase 2 speed displays.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now I got that down. All right. I'm gonna keep going on the petitioned articles, and we'll head back to the other ones if that's okay with everyone. So the next petitioned article is commercially licensed fireworks permitted in the village district. Let me just get my bearings here. Okay, so I will read this and then we'll have discussion. Commercially licensed firework events shall only be permitted to be held within the village district in the town of Jackson, New Hampshire. Commercially licensed firework events shall only be permitted in Jackson's village district as defined by the Jackson zoning ordinance. No commercially licensed firework event shall be permitted on private or town-owned property located outside of the village district. Any such event within the village district shall comply with all local, state, and federal laws, ordinances, regulations, and permitting requirements. Fireworks are defined as explosive pyrotechnic devices used for aesthetic and entertainment purposes. So I have a question. Is the first one and the second sentence 2 different things, or are they within the same article? So it's only permitted within the village district, and then only permitted in Jackson's village district as defined by the zoning ordinance, not on town-owned or private property.
For whatever reason, I thought that first sentence was just kind of a summation of
Yeah,
the
that's, so
actual-
that's why I want to make sure. The first is a summation.
The petitioner needs to explain it.
Okay, so
Yeah, not
Penny?
me. It's not me.
No, I did.
She knows. She's up.
Yeah, I was just proposing just the commercially licensed fireworks event shall only be permitted in the Jackson Village District as defined by the Jackson zoning ordinance. No commercially licensed fireworks event shall be permitted on private or town-owned land outside of the village district, is what was intended.
Okay,
They say
so
the same thing.
the first sentence is more of, like, I'm showing just this,
It was
the
just
first
a-
sentence is the summation at the
Yeah,
top.
with the
The
title.
second is the more of a detailed explanation.
Yes.
Thoughts, Bob or Frank?
I think it's a little too restrictive, to be honest with you. And we've already had a couple fireworks displays in a non-public place, that is Black Mountain. And I think that, personally, I've been on the side of the one that we always have in town. That's been a
Mhm.
tradition. And I think another one, New Year's Eve up at Black, seems to me to be a good use also. It should be permitted. But I think this is just too draconian, just to say one in the village and that's it, when we know we have a history of having it in other places. That's the way I feel.
Bob?
So the first signature on that is Penny's, correct?
No, but she's
No.
the submitter.
Okay, so you're here representing it.
Yeah,
Are
actually, it
you-
is the first on this page. she
Yeah,
says.
typically. So we kind of got a bit of a take of the logic on the speed displays with Will. Would you like to share your thoughts on why you think this is necessary and prudent? And
Sure. It was really to keep our rural residential areas quiet, peaceful, and dark as expected and currently cherished by the people who own property and rent in those areas. Also to reduce the unnecessary risk, harm, and distress to people, horses, livestock, and wildlife. We've heard from some of the fire department folks also about improving fire and emergency preparedness. And that we have plenty of water sources down here in the village as opposed to outside of the village, where here we have two major rivers. Support safer traffic and crowd management by concentrating them in an area that is suitable to a large number of cars and pedestrians with excellent ingress and egress before and after the event, and helping to keep celebrations enjoyable for the whole community.
Thank you.
Eric?
Hi. Okay, so I would agree with Frank just a little bit on the draconian piece, but also I think while certainly the legislative body of the town can vote on this and go through it, the town will have to defend it. And it fails the rational basis test on every level, we believe. And it's certainly something we looked at prior to going into the settlement with the town as well. It's very difficult to say that a highly congested area in town is a safer spot for fireworks than a rural area. We certainly understand the livestock piece, but we've worked very hard to solve that with Dean, and Dean has actually solved that in writing with us, and we've settled all those disputes, and he's agreed to our 2 fireworks permits per year, which is great news to have that over. And I think, a lot of that we can debate at the town meeting. Certainly, and we'll see what the town decides to do with this. But I do think that it definitely undermines the agreement that Black Mountain made with the town. A big piece of that agreement was negotiated with the select board for those 2 firework displays. And we agreed in that agreement that we would not take that defense position on a non-conforming pre-existing use. And that's fine, but we do feel that it fails the rational basis test, and it would be something that we would very aggressively pursue. It is a huge piece of revenue for us for those 2 events. It's massive. And as far as the select board tonight, whether they choose to recommend that or not recommend that, my only comment would be is I feel like we've worked through this problem collaboratively with you guys. And we did some things and you did some things, and one of the things that you guys agreed to do as a select board and as a town was to give us those 2 pieces. And I feel that voting to recommend this goes against that settlement agreement, both in principle and practice.
Okay, I'm just gonna respond from my point of view as far as the agreement goes. We did agree to that based on the fact that at the time of the agreement, the fireworks permits were allowable. But and we said, should the legislative body enact such legislation that would not permit this, that we would acknowledge, that you would not acknowledge and agree that it shall not have any pre-existing non-conforming use rights related to fireworks displays. And I think that we agreed at the time that because there was no litigation or legislation to prevent that we would allow it. But based on, we knew going into signing this agreement that could change. So we didn't endorse fully the fact that you had fireworks there. We agreed to it at the time based on the fact that we pretty much knew we would go to town meeting and have a different discussion on this. So there's different opinions on how to define our conversation. But the other thing is this a warrant article that gets voted on election day or at town meeting?
Town meeting.
Okay, just want to make, because it's petitioned, right? I just wanted to clarify that, pretty much knew the answer, but this is one that would have a discussion at town meeting for sure. It is our job to recommend it or not recommend it and let that go to town meeting for the discussion. Any other thoughts or comments from you, the board?
No, I've said what I have to say.
Okay, Eric?
I have one more. I agree with you that we had anticipated that this would happen, but the only way that the select board would move away from the status quo with that agreement was if the town legislative body enacted that. And the town legislative body has not done that, and you are not the town legislative body, you're the board of select people, and we would take the stance that you would be violating the agreement in principle and in practice by endorsing and moving towards that change. If the town people want to vote to make that change, that's their right. But we believe that you endorsing it goes against the agreement. And that would be the position that we would take publicly as well.
And this is why we increased our legal fees to $65,000.
And they're gonna go up a lot more.
Penny?
Hello, Joe.
Yeah,
I just
see,
wanna say
I
this-
love,
It was actually, yeah, it was actually, most of the people we spoke with and signed this agreement were actually said, we would prefer to sign something that eliminated fireworks in the entire town. I was not the only one who worked on this, there was a number of us, and we all agreed that we wanted to take this step and limit it at least to the village district. There are some people who enjoy them. We don't see a big benefit to local businesses, since many are closed, or if they're in, they might send their guests down. But yeah, most people who signed this agreement were actually in favor of wanting our warrant article changed to no fireworks.
and I just want to make a comment that I feel personally threatened at this time, that I should not endorse this. So personally feeling very threatened right now. Lisa?
I just want to comment. I find this really offensive when we continually have to hear about people preserving their peace and their quiet up on the hill, while those of us who live in town, we endure things for one another to support businesses. And I think this is grossly unfair, that they get to have an alternate lifestyle versus those of us who live right outside the village. It's not whether fireworks or concerts, I just have difficulty understanding why those of us who live within the village and have peacefully gotten along with our neighbors and other area businesses, I don't understand why that's an issue up on the hill.
Thank you. Karen?
And I apologize for not, when I type things up in minutes, I just type in numbers. So when you vote, it's for, against, and no vote. Is there any reason why the three of you, to provide your own personal vote, can all vote no vote, because you're not saying yea or nay? It's for the town people. In that town, you get to choose what you want to do. And it's just a thought, because then you're preserving your privacy as well.
Thank you. Any other conversations? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey there, Michael.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
Michael Portheous.
Oh, hi, Michael.
Jackson resident, had a house here for about 13 years. Look, I happened to see Eric this weekend. He told me about this potentially coming up, to be blunt. And, you know, I talked to a bunch of people in town, probably 10 or 12 over the last couple of days, and everyone's like, wait, what? What are we doing? We're doing a fireworks warrant article, et cetera. And I fully appreciate someone bringing this up. I think that's a wonderful thing. I personally disagree with it. I think the fireworks were wonderful over the years. I live on Whitney Hill. I think they were great. I think the fireworks in town are also great, for what it's worth. But my real concern is just, given the process and the timing and everything that's happened with Black over the last year or so, and the precedent that this can set and potentially be perceived, I think we just need to have an open, honest, transparent discussion about this versus just trying to slip it in at the last minute as a warrant article that then goes in front of the town. I just think it needs to be very clear that this is not a bully or an attack on a specific business in town in any way, shape, or form, because honestly, the way I read it, that's how it feels to me, for what it's worth, and given everything that's happened.
Karen? Just want to point out that warrant articles are only at a deadline as of like, I believe today. So unfortunately, as of like noon, 2 o'clock, we don't know what people are going to present.
I totally appreciate that.
Okay. And also one other thing, sir.
Sorry.
And registered voters at town meeting show proof, and they will vote that.
I guess, sorry, I'll be very quick, I promise. I guess my point is, I think, given the fact we haven't had a real discussion about this as a town in any way, shape, or form, My personal belief is the select board should not recommend this, and that this is not something we should vote yes to in this election. And I personally believe it'd be something we should absolutely consider in a future election. That's my view.
Well, it will go to town meeting. I mean, it has to, so we don't have any control over that. It's a petition warrant article, so it will be a town meeting. All right, Bob and Frank, anything else?
I'll make a motion to recommend the fireworks ordinance submitted by the citizen group.
Frank, would you like to second that?
No. No, I don't want to second that. I'm a no vote.
I'll be a no vote as well. Do we have to second it and then vote, or how do we do that? I'm not sure.
Can't vote without a second.
Yeah. All right, so I'll second it, and all in favor?
Nope.
All against? Aye. I'm sorry, all no vote. Sorry, all for, all against, no vote.
Point of order, I think it's an abstain.
You could do that.
Abstain? Is that
That would be
the
the
new-
third choice, would
the
be
store
to
vote?
abstain
Yeah, you could do
from
that.
voting.
Okay, so all for, 0, all against, 0, abstain,
Aye.
aye. Were you against?
No, I'm against this.
Okay.
This, just, I said it's
So
two
0,
voting.
1, and 2
Yeah.
is our vote. Okay? All right. To call on the next petitioned article is to call on the New Hampshire legislator to protect local taxpayers by ensuring adequate state revenues for essential services and by avoiding policies that shift costs onto local property taxpayers. Ashley, are you here? Hi.
Hello, I'm Ashley, if I have not met you. So we want to put forth this warrant article because New Hampshire thrives when state funding is fairly supports local communities. So the question before voters is, do we call on the legislature to ensure adequate state revenues for essential services and avoid policies that shift costs onto local property taxpayers? So this article gives voters a direct vote in asking Concord to stop cost shifting and restore responsible budgeting. And this would be a letter from the select board saying that we voted for this if that's what we end up doing. And so why this really matters right now is recent state budgets have reduced or eliminated revenue sources. As a result, towns and counties have been forced to raise property taxes to maintain things like public education, public safety, and roads and infrastructure. So these decisions really place burdens on working families as well as local budgets, flexibility, and undermines long-term community prosperity. Some examples of this have been that these have been eliminated or reduced in state revenue, including interest and dividends tax, business profits tax, and meals and rooms tax. Some of the gaps have become education funding, county services, and public safety. Even just, I believe, tomorrow, there's HB 155 being voted on in Concord, which is a $26 million tax or state revenue cut. So we need to make it clear that these sort of revenue cuts need to be accounted for by the state and not trickle down into the towns. So why would this apply to me? I don't own property in this town, I'm a renter. However, that could affect my rent in the future, and already there's a housing crisis, there's an affordability crisis in New Hampshire and Jackson, and so the idea of those prices going up makes it even harder for someone like me to buy property here. So what would a yes accomplish? It would urge the legislature to stop shifting state costs onto local property taxpayers, ensure the state pays their fair share, and restore municipal revenue sharing. This will strengthen our economic stability, and so as just a wrap up, the warrant article gives Jackson voters a way to formally say that when the state makes revenue decisions, it should also take responsibility for the local tax consequences, rather than pushing those costs onto towns and property taxpayers.
Any questions, comments, thoughts?
Chris, say anything?
Nope, see you for the next one.
Can I just?
All right.
Just.
Yeah, Emily.
I just think it's a great idea to bring this forward.
Thank you.
And it's no, cost consequence, but just to get
Right.
that voice forward.
To make a motion, we recommend the petitioned warrant article number 3.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, Ashley, I appreciate the work on this. All right, next warrant article, petition to warrant article number 4, to call on our legislators to protect taxpayers by requiring the Education Freedom Account program to provide fiscal and educational performance reports comparable to those required of public schools, and by limiting eligibility to families with demonstrated financial need. Chris?
Yes.
Oh, like magic over there, my God. Here I am reading and, oh my God.
Stealth.
Okay, very stealth.
I think
You're a ninja.
I think I know everybody here, and I at least recognize everybody, but again, my name is Chris McAleer. I'm a state rep for Carroll County District 2, which includes Hales location, Hartford location, Bartlett, Jackson, Chatham, Albany, and Sandwich. So what we're talking about, I don't know if anybody knows about these so-called freedom educational accounts. I'll assume that you don't. These are something that are being adopted by a lot of states. And I won't lie to you, this is a very partisan issue, Public education has always been really a really strong point in a lot of states, and New Hampshire as well. So the Freedom Education account came into effect during the 2021 school year. And the original intent of the program was to provide a money so that poorer families, less opulent families, could offer their kids an alternative education. It might be a private school, it might be a homeschooling, it might be a parochial school. As it turns out, when the program started, it had income limits on it. And so, but 85% of the original students, 85%, were already in a private school, a parochial school, or getting homeschooled. Now, what happened is that they gradually raised the limits. The limits were at 350% above the poverty level up until last June, and then the limits went off. So now anybody could do it. So you could be making $1 million a year and sending your kid to Phillips Exeter Academy, and you could get the average stipend is about $5,000. Now what's happened is things have changed. So it's actually more wealthy people that are taking advantage of it as opposed to lower income people. So you can see how that's changed. You just, somebody's $5,000 gift, that's great. Now, we're not going to stop this program, but we certainly need to put controls on it. And one of the problems is it's not transparent at all. The firm that is monitoring it, they're an out-of-state firm. They actually get 10% of the money for their administration purposes, but they don't disclose anything. We don't know if these kids, they don't take tests, but they're not tested. We can't find out exactly where they're going. Now, there is a legislative committee made up of 2 senators and 3 representatives that are supposed to monitor this, but they can't. They only can monitor the state education department and what they say about this. So again, it's not going to go away. We're paying for parochial schools. 85% of this money goes to parochial schools. And the way they get around that is they don't give the money directly to the parochial school. They give it to the family, and the family gives it. So it's a nice little sidestep to what's going on. So again, not going away, but what we're trying to send a message is to the education department that, number one, we want transparency. We want to know what's going on. We want to know if these things are effective. You could have a family on a low-income side. They could say, well, I got 2 kids, let's homeschool, and there's $10,000 to help pay the mortgage and everything else. And in fact, how they're being homeschooled is grandma comes over and watches The Price is Right as the kids go about their day. So there's gonna be controls on this. The other thing I think we can do, and it all depends on this coming November, we could probably lower the limits now down and make it more focused on what it was intended to do, and that was to help lower income families get an education that might fit their child's needs rather than what's going on right now. So I strongly urge you to do this. Where does the money come from, by the way? They're draining the state educational trust fund. The cost this year will be about $50 million. And there's about 10,500 kids that are signed up for the program. So where's it going to hit? Well, if we drain that trust fund, it's going to come back into property taxes because the legislature is cutting every other kind of tax out there. They cut the dividend and interest tax. They just lowered the business enterprise tax by only 5 basis points. So to a normal business, that savings in New Hampshire is about somewhere between $28 and $47 a month. That's all their savings. But where it really hurts us is these big out-of-state corporations that do make huge amounts of money. You know, they're getting a break. They're getting a break. And where does it all end up? Right on our property taxes. Everything's flowing that way. So again, I urge you to vote for it, and I thank you for all listening to me. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you being here, and thanks for what you do, too. Don't be doing that ninja thing again, though. All right. Any questions or comments on this? Thoughts? Stephen? Oh, sorry. Michael?
Yeah, sorry. Honestly, when we're going to talk about this, I think it's a great discussion. Completely, I actually don't have an opinion on whether it's a for or against, to be blunt, but just something on the education freedom accounts I want to kind of articulate. So the way New Hampshire works is for every student that's enrolled in a public school, they pay roughly $5,000, okay? And then if that student is not enrolled in a public school, the state gets off scot-free. They pay $0 for that student, period. And so what Education Freedom Accounts basically did was said, okay, state, we're not going to let you get off scot-free for actually providing money to educate this child if they're not in a public school. We're going to make you pay $5,000 regardless of where this student gets educated. And except initially if you made over X amount of dollars. And so they've slowly changed that, so now every student, it's another way to look at it, the state is obligated to pay roughly $5,000, whether it goes to your public school or to your education freedom account and of your choice. And so I think what you're proposing, the way I view it for what it's worth, is saying we will not give that $5,000 to anyone who decides not to go to a public school over a certain income amount, and then making sure that that $5,000 is tracked a little bit more closely. So I don't really have a strong opinion one way or the other. I just think that's the way, for what it's worth, I personally see the program and how it works. So.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, thoughts?
Make a motion to recommend petition Article 4.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you both. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go backwards here and hit the proposed warrant articles, starting with Article number 2, zoning amendments. And these will be on the ballot on Tuesday, March 10th, not at town meeting. All right, number 1 is to modify the short-term rental ordinance to address owners of short-term rentals who existed before the ordinance's adoption and their exemption from the annual rental limit. Bill or David?
The warrant is really to pose a potential misuse of the application. We currently have on the zoning ordinance that you cannot, you can have a short-term rental, but if you're not in the village district, that you're limited to 30 rentals a year. And we grandfathered folks who did short-term rentals prior to 2020. And you've been required to register since 2020. And the intention here is to have someone not be able to 2 years from now say, oh yeah, I haven't registered for 7 years, but yet I've been doing short-term rentals all along. And so now I want to put my application in and finally get on your record. It just closes a loophole. Doesn't take anything away from anyone.
Any other questions or comments?
They recommended 7-0. We appointed them all.
So,
You go for
I
that.
know this was recommended back a while ago at the planning board. Has anything legally changed from local rulings that would change this ordinance? From like Madison or any Kearsarge lighting precinct
We don't
or
believe
anything?
so, because we're not taking anything away from anyone. We're just simply saying you can't put on your application that you were doing rentals prior to your application. It's simply, there's 5 years that passed. And it just simply says, yeah, okay, you should have put that in 5 years ago.
Do we have any tools to any fines or violations for someone that did disclose that? If someone came and handed in their short-term rental application and said, hey, we've been doing this for 5 years, sorry, it slipped my mind, we don't have any repercussions then, we just accept that as a new application? Is that correct?
There's a statement, there's a statement on the application that says you have been doing this prior to March of 2020.
Okay.
And they have to say,
So
yes,
there's-
I have, or no, I haven't.
Mhm.
That's the only thing we have. And if they go, yes, we accept it.
Okay.
And
It
what
just
we're
is a
trying to do
fact.
Get rid of that question of yes and no, and assuming as of March of 2026, you can't answer that question any longer. You will be assumed that it's a new.
Okay.
And will be held to the 30 rentals.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I have none.
All right. So I will read the whole ordinance.
What about grandfather?
That's it.
I mean,
That's what.
That's what happened down in Madison.
Those who are grandfathered have already have the right to have no limit. But they also have a requirement, register, and the registration requirement's been out there for 5 years.
We're ending the registration.
Basically, what it's saying is that we're basically closing out the opportunity to register as a prior, if you've been actively doing short-term rentals, you ought to be fined by the select board for $295 for each year that you haven't been, and that's times 5, you should be willing to pay that amount. But we haven't done any kind of draconian process to nix anybody who hasn't applied.
And I don't think we think this is a problem, it's just technicality that
It's
we're
a
clearing up.
technicality that we're just closing out simply because there are folks who will say that this doesn't apply to us, and then they don't really have any reason to not have it not apply to them.
Okay.
It simplifies your process. In fact, that was the reason that we did it, was we did it on request.
So if this gets approved at town meeting, we can take off that question,
Yeah,
whether they're in the
yes.
village district or the rural residential district.
If they've done this prior to March 20, it's the second question.
There's still a phrase that says prior to, and that would be, there's a sentence that's out there.
Okay. Anything else? Lisa?
I just had requested an amendment when I went to the planning board meeting for those of us who have been paying a tax base in Jackson for many years and have given a great deal of time as volunteers to this community, that we be able to be grandfathered and be able to rent without someone putting a 30 rentals per year. I think it's unfortunate that these things happened during the pandemic and many people came in with the sole purpose of buying properties to short-term rental them, where there are some of us who have lived here, in my case, for 35 years, and my home is outgrowing me. And in the past 4 years, I've had 2 homeless people that I have been housing, which is why I didn't go for a short-term rental at that time, because that did not seem genuine to me. I think it's unfair that other people have come in and been able to do whatever they want, and those of us who have supported this town and lived in this community for all these years are now being brushed aside. And that's how that feels to me.
All right. I'm going to read the full article here. To see if the town will vote to adopt an amendment to the Jackson zoning ordinance, section 4.4, short-term rentals, in section 4.4.5 to read, short-term rentals in existence in the rural residential district at the time of adoption of this ordinance at the March 12, 2020 annual meeting, and for which an application for a conditional use permit has been received prior to March 10, 2026, shall be exempt from the restriction on the number of annual rentals. I'll make a motion to accept this article number 2.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Number 3, modify the ordinance to reduce the number of parking spaces required for residential dwelling units. To see if the town will vote to adopt an amendment to the Jackson zoning ordinance, section 7, parking, section 7.1 to be modified to allow for 1 space per dwelling unit. Any questions, comments, thoughts on that? Frank?
I'll make a quick comment. The state passed a law that said you have to change it to 1.
So, I'm feeling a little pressured again, but I get it. No, I'm kidding. So, I don't have any questions, do you?
No.
I'll recommend the article number 3.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're not really recommending it.
I'm sorry,
Whether
we're
you're in favor
recommending,
or not.
we're in favor of it.
Planning board
Thank you.
recommends it.
Yeah,
You did it.
thanks for the semantics there. All right, number 4, modify the ordinance regarding accessory apartment requirements for ingress and egress regulations to see if the town will vote to adopt an amendment to the Jackson zoning ordinance, section 9, accessory apartments, also known as accessory dwelling units, ADUs, section 9.5 to be modified to read, attached accessory apartments shall have an independent means of ingress and egress, or such means through a common space, i.e. a shared hallway, shared with the principal dwelling unit. Questions, comments?
None.
Comment was the state changed the rules.
Got you. Motion?
I'll make a motion that we express our opinions through vote on Article 4.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 5, another zoning ordinance to modify the ordinance on accessory apartments to limit the number of occupants. To see if the town will vote to adopt an amendment to the Jackson zoning ordinance, section 9, accessory apartments, also known as accessory dwelling units, ADU, section 9.7 to be modified to read, no accessory apartment shall have more than 2 occupants per bedroom, with the number of bedrooms determined by the lesser of the number of bedrooms listed on either the building permit, tax card, or septic plan. Recommended by the planning board 7-0. Comments, questions? no changes on that. Karen?
Question, tax card, building permit, septic claim, isn't like the septic what the state approves you can do? So like, what if there's been changes, we have people that have had new septics put in?
Again, it's a lesser of whichever record we have available to us.
I think in the past, haven't we had, like, if people can prove that they have a new septic, do we take that into consideration if it's a state-approved septic?
The ADU still requires that you have appropriate septic as part of the building permit approval. So we're not changing that, it just simply says that we're trying to identify a means of counting how many bedrooms in terms of looking at that, as opposed to simply saying the number of bedrooms, or just saying 2 per bedroom. And somebody says, well, I got 6 bedrooms, and it's like, well, okay, we have a basis for which to look at the number of bedrooms that's associated with a particular lot.
This is the same language that we currently use for the short-term rental determinations.
Right. And
So it's
as far as
applying it to ADUs versus
as far as
short-
dealing with the 2 occupants per bedroom, our current zoning ordinance specifies that it's no more than 1 person per 250 square feet. The new RSA prohibits us from using that as a definition. So we had, and it said that the guidance is such that you cannot have a limit that's greater or less than 2 persons per bedroom. So we use the 2 persons per bedroom.
Anyone else? I will make a motion to recommend article number 5.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Article number 6, to modify the ordinance for districts and district regulations for casinos to include games of chance such as but not limited to Keno. So this is to see if the town will vote to adopt an amendment to the Jackson zoning ordinance section 4, districts and district regulations, section 4.3.2.1.3.4, to be modified to read, games of chance including but not limited to Keno and casino gambling. So this is including it to be banned in the Jackson zoning ordinance.
Correct, because right now the zoning ordinance only specifies casino gambling.
And so you have to be specific and mention Keno now as of this year.
As related to your other warrant article that you're going to request. They're tied together.
Gotcha. Any questions, comments?
Has anybody here played Keno?
No.
Yep. I haven't. You know, I haven't, but it seems like a rather innocuous game. They're doing it down in Conway. It's making money in some places. Almost there does it. Has anybody talked to anybody in the business community about whether they might think this might be a nice addition to their business?
No.
I don't think so. So I'm not sure why. You know, people can decide whether they want to gamble or not. Now, we already have casino gambling, like you said, Dave, and I appreciate that. But if somebody wants to open up a Keno room, why not? So if someone wants to do that when they come up here, I don't think it's going to turn us into a gambling parrot. This is just my opinion. But
If I may make a comment, we already prohibit games of chance.
Games of chance.
And Keno is a game of chance. The requirement is that the state requires now that we specify specifically that Keno is this game of chance. It is by definition, and so it's kind of ludicrous that they ask us to do it, but we're being asked to do that, so we're doing it.
But I think also to your point, if someone really came to us and said, I'd love to have this changed, they could take it to the next town meeting and have it changed. Yeah.
But you're right. It's already in there. It's a game of chance. So
And
they're asking us for something we already said you can't do.
And
We already said we don't.
But Keno in specific.
But you also don't go online and gamble. You need to do,
I don't
do that.
I don't do any of it.
Right.
But I'm giving a person an opportunity to do it if they wanted to.
Yep. All right. Anything else? All right.
Should we give you money?
I will make a motion to recommend Article number 6.
Second?
You're not recommending.
I'm sorry,
Remember?
to approve
You
it.
just,
We're-
no, whether you're in favor or not of the planning board's
Oh,
zoning.
too much pressure. To see if the town will vote to adopt an amendment to the Jackson zoning ordinance, for or against. Did anyone second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's getting really late. All right, the following articles will be voted on at town meeting Thursday, March 12th at 7 p.m. The operating budget will be number 7. Articles 8, 9, and 10 are the recurring warrant articles. And then Article 20 for disabled veteran tax credit adjustment of $1,900. Currently, we have,
It's not 20, sorry, that's
no,
just,
that,
it's not determined yet what the
it's not
article is
determined.
yet.
Oh, sorry, I was
Sorry.
reading my Roman
Yeah.
numerals. So this is Article number to be determined.
Yeah.
Disabled veteran tax credit adjustment, $1,900. And I'm going to read this, there is a typo in here, so I will read it how it should be read. Shall the town of Jackson vote in accordance with RSA 72:27-A to modify the provisions of RSA 72:35 previously adopted for an optional tax credit of $1,900 for a service-connected total and permanent disability. If approved, this article shall take effect for the 2026 property tax year. So right now, we have two. Can I talk for just a second?
Yeah, the reading, this is $1,019 and
That's why I said,
$1,800.
I know, so that's why I said I'm reading it as it should read, because
Okay.
there's a typo in there.
Not
So
sure I heard it correctly.
$1,900 should read.
Or you can say 19,000.
Huh? Did I say it wrong?
Yeah, no, you got it right.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
So the current property tax credit amount is $1,400, and that was last set by town voters in March 2004. And then there are 5 property owners that receive this credit currently. The urgency of increasing this tax credit effective for this next 2026 property tax year is due to the passage of a recent legislation by state legislators. That legislation removed the requirement that municipalities were under to combine the $500 veterans tax credit with the $1,400 one. So we could only offer either $500 or $1,400. By increasing the limit, now it can still be taken advantage of up to $1,900. Does that make sense, gentlemen? Any questions?
Make a motion to recommend the disabled veteran tax credit adjustment.
Oh, sure, you get to recommend. I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. All right, now this one is the one that prohibits the game of chance. So this is Article to be determined, number 2. Shall the town of Jackson vote to prohibit the operation of games of chance, including but not limited to Keno within the town of Jackson? And this is tax rate impact 0. So this is HB 737 automatically permits Keno unless a municipality votes to prohibit it. So this is the second part of the other one that we're talking about. Any questions on that?
No.
I will make a motion to recommend the article prohibiting the game of chance Keno.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. With that.
Frank, did you
Oh,
say aye?
No, I
Did you
said
vote?
no. I
You
didn't
said
vote.
no?
I said no.
Okay.
No, so 3, 2, 1, and
2,
0.
1, 0?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't-
No, it's okay. It's okay.
All right. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? I'm tired.
That's
You
it?
got
That's
something?
all we
That's
got
all
to
we
do?
have to do.
Barbara?
You just have to make a motion to approve the final number of the warrant articles.
What is the, oh, on that budget part of it.
Yeah, the budget part.
So the, hold on,
So
get there.
page 5.
Page
Page 5.
Under the warrant articles, the total amount is the new is 50,000, we already did. The 9,000 is the amount?
No, at the bottom, the total.
657,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha, thank you.
Yeah.
So, the total warrant articles, 'cause, 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 'cause,
5 to the cruiser.
Yeah.
And we took away 50 on the highway heavy equipment.
So
that
I come up
number
with
should go up
six,
to
12, 508. $612,508?
Is that what Julie has? I see her.
Yeah.
That's what Bob has, that's what I have?
What you have? Well, I'll go with the CPA.
Could you repeat that number, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna read it actually. $612,508 total warrant articles. I'll make a motion to approve that,
Second?
or recommend that. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anything else I'm missing?
Dinner.
Dinner, yeah.
Dinner, yeah.
Eric?
It might be a Julie question, but copy of the petition article signature pages that come through Julie.
Yeah, we do have copies of them all.
Great, thanks. Email or I can pick them up in person. Great.
Thanks everyone for coming. I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn at 5:44 PM.